Part 2. Today I want to build building apartment. So I want to go from the starting process, like from the land to the finished product and whatever steps I have to face as a builder, step by step. So this would really help anybody who new budding builders out there who wants to see what are the hurdles in between. So that is the intention of this thing. So it starts from land acquisition, right? If I were to build an apartment.
So the first and most important thing is, all builders will have some land stock, land bank. We don't go to buy one land, finish that, then go and buy another land, finish that. We will all builders have land banks.
What is land banks?
Land banks is you buy some land.
Okay.
Whenever it comes to you, and you keep in with you as a stockpile, because you can't make buildings on all your land. There are demand and supply issues, your financial capabilities issues are there, marketing issues are there. So you will decide how much you can build based on all these parameters, but you will still have some land. So we always keep a land
banks.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. And say large builders will have maybe a few hundred acres or a couple of 1,000 acres land bank.
Okay.
Those who are, public listed companies in stock exchanges and all. Mid-sized builders may have maybe a 50 acres, 100 acres, 200 acres. Small builders also will have 10, 15, 20 acres here and there, so that we all...
Land price is always going to increase, so they keep it.
So say like a jeweler will always have gold in stock.
Right.
And he does not lose money as such, because gold also keeps appreciating.
Yeah.
Same way a builder also has land in stock, and he is not losing money because land is also appreciating.
Correct.
Because land is also looked as an investment product, So that's the way we operate. But whenever you look at a particular land, builder will have that, kind of a knowledge background that which land, what kind of development can happen, whether residential, commercial, or retail, or hotel, or in what zone it falls. All those basic information he will be able to understand, and he will have. So that is one part of it. Second part of
Loss
it is
of the land.
Yeah, so, because if you are buying a industrial land, you can't make apartments there.
Right.
So you know what category of zone there is for that land. Okay. The second thing is the valuation of the property. You know what valuation the apartments will get sold, or commercial offices, what rent it will get, and all that. Based on that, you work backwards.
Reverse engineering.
And you know that I can't pay more than this value for this land. Otherwise, it will not give me much desired returns. So the landowner always expects the moon, the sky, the sun.
Right.
You can't give him everything. What will be, what valuation will be workable for you. So then that negotiation, how to deal with the landowner. If you are buying the land, most builders do joint development, so that buying hassle is not there. The landowner gives you the right to build on his land. In turn,
equity share.
You give him, most don't give equity share, but most give a percentage of built up area. Say like 30%, 35%, 40%, whatever is built there, that much is given to the landowner.
Suppose there are 100 floors, 30 floors to the...
No, it's given in terms of percentage in square feet.
Okay.
So like if you're building 1 lakh square feet, maybe
1 lakh square total,
35,000
combining the whole...
Okay. So that is given. So for that, there are different set of legal documents like joint development documents, and stuff like that. And if you're buying it outright, then, you have to look at either way, joint development or buying, title issue has to be verified very clearly. Most builders, they take at least opinion from 2 different lawyers for the same property.
On the title ownership.
Because if one lawyer misses out something, the second lawyer may find out that.
Correct.
Because the aim is not to get entangled in title dispute. That is not only blocking your money or wasting your money, but you'll end up wasting a lot of time to fight legal battles. So we follow this procedure. Some may even give it to a third lawyer also.
Okay.
To be
That serious.
100%, because see, land is a very expensive
Commodity.
like today, small parcel of land also will be costing a few crores.
Right.
If you're buying big parcels, it may go even 100 crores, 200 crores. It's not a small amount. You can't take a chance. You don't mind spending 2-3 lakhs for legal fees, giving to each lawyer, whatever they may be fees. You don't mind spending that, because the amount at stake is so large. So that is another aspect. Once all legal due diligence, everything is done, negotiation is done, then you buy the land based on, you have to register the land in your name. So you execute a sale date, pay the stamp duty on that. If you're doing a joint development, again execute a joint development document, pay stamp duty on that. And then the whole process of approvals, NOCs start.
Approval from the government, bureaucrats.
Different departments, different approvals. So city-wise approvals are different.
Municipality approval.
So like if a city has no airport, you don't need an airport approval. If a city has an approval, you need.
Okay.
So like that, there's a huge list of NOCs and approvals to be taken. If I am not wrong, in Bangalore we need around 20 plus approvals and NOCs. And the major of them are basically approval from the say like your urban planning department. Like in Mangalore we call Mangalore Urban Development Authority. Bangalore you call BDA, Bangalore Development Authority. So your single site approval, roadway, this, and the land is suitable for development, what development, and all this.
So you have to submit the plan as a builder.
Yeah. So all those approvals are there. Major NOCs are, Ministry of Environment NOC, Fire NOC. These are the two very major NOCs. Others are all minor NOCs, but these two are very, very major NOCs.
So what do environmental?
Environment, they look at, if you're going to do this project, what is the impact of your project on the environment? Environment means they look at everything.
Emission.
Water. How much water you will use? How much water
is there any chances of pollution?
How much wastewater there will be, like spoiled water will be generated in the building. How are you going to treat those water? Then power. How you are going to use power, what is your requirement, how you are going to save, what is the backup power, how you are going to look at the emission of backup power, then your dry waste, wet waste, how are you going to handle those waste. So there are so many parameters. Then trees, planting new trees, you may have to cut some existing trees. So you have to plant many more trees if you are cutting one tree. Those kind of things,
Okay.
And if there are any water bodies near your property,
is there any chance of contamination?
Yeah, your project should not affect the water bodies, things like that. For environment, you must have heard about National Green Tribunal.
Right.
So if there's a dispute, you may end up in National Green Tribunal, and which may put severe penalties for damaging water bodies or lakes or rivers, whatever.
Get bothered by the activists. And so much.
All those things.
So these are the regulatory things to be taken care.
In city-wise, it may take 3 months to 1 year to get all these approvals done.
My God, okay.
Including the license from the city corporation, or you can call it BD or BBMP in Bangalore. Okay. After all these approvals and license is done, then you have to go to Real Estate Regulation Act.
Okay.
Get your project registered. Because before you
what is the purpose of that?
Before you register your project, you cannot start marketing, selling, or collecting money from people. So the Real Estate Regulation Act was made primarily because,
to prevent scams.
Too many home buyers were cheated by fly-by-night operators or builders who were intentions were not very clean, and they had nowhere to get themselves their grievances redressed. And going to courts, it takes years and years.
Right.
So Earlier, some builders would take money but never deliver flat, or they say they had promised delivery in 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, but they are delivering flats after 10 years. Or they have
So this
specified,
real estate authority would keep in check on the
or they have
timeline.
given you specifications of swimming pool, garden, this, that, but nothing is provided. Quality is not up to the mark. All those things, redressal was very difficult.
Okay.
But under Real Estate Regulation Act, all those things are being taken care of. Builders are brought under the Real Estate Regulation Act to basically safeguard the interest of the
Consumers.
home buyers, consumers. So they have a builder who is regulated and the money is protected.
Okay.
And if builder delays in giving a project on time,
Consumers can sue the builder.
they can go to RERA, file a case against the builder in the RERA. Or the specifications or services or facilities he has mentioned
Is not delivered.
again you can go. So you have those basic redressals. And if the builder is not able to complete the project, RERA can take over the project from builder,
Okay.
appoint a third party builder,
And auction it off.
maybe a government company also, and see to it that the project is completed. I don't know, you might have heard about that Amrapali builders problem in I think NCR region. NCR is that New Delhi and Noida. Okay, there the cricketer Dhoni, he was their brand ambassador.
Promoter of that building.
Not promoter, brand ambassador.
Okay.
You would see his face on most of the advertisements. He was a brand ambassador. So, because most people connect Amrapali to Dhoni being the brand ambassador. So there also builders couldn't complete the project. They lost out financially. They had run out of money. And
Bad planning.
too many buildings were taken up at the same time. So finally it was given to a private or I think it was given to a government company, NBCC, National Building Corporation.
So how do they hand it over? Like auctioning off?
No. They'll call them. There's a system there. No auction. There's a system procedure. It's a quasi-judicial way of looking at things. And now they have completed the buildings.
Okay.
So RERA is pretty important, and builders who follow the law, they are also happy because now there's a clear distinction now. Builders who follow the law, builders who don't follow the law.
Right.
We are not all put in the same bracket.
Right.
For customer also, it's very important that they should see before buying whether the project has RERA registration.
It's one of the documents they should see whether it is.
And once the project is completed, again you have to take a lot of final NOCs. And you have to take occupation certificate, you have to get water connection, power connection and all other connections.
Before laying a stone.
And then hand over flats to the buyers and execute sale deed in their favor for each flat.
Okay.
So after all that is done, you have to help them to form a society or an association to run the building for day-to-day maintenance.
That is later after building is constructed.
So it starts from buying the land.
Okay.
It ends with formation of society or association.
I mean, we have skipped the part now. So land now. So, okay, so many due diligences. It will take a year to get all the approvals.
Yeah, it takes that much time.
Okay. So would that be faster if you pay a little under the...
See, I won't use the word under the table, corruption and all.
Over the table only.
But, there are systemic issues. And the laws are designed in such a way that bureaucracy has a lot of, discretionary powers. Timelines are not maintained. See, what is the problem for a builder? He is chasing against time.
Right. Market cycles,
now,
things like that.
He buys a particular piece of land. His meter for cost starts running. Because if I am investing X amount in land,
right.
My cost, of interest or other cost, it starts from that day. If I can get approvals in 3 months, I can start my project in 3 months. How much money, we are saving. So that much we can pass on the benefit to the
Right.
home buyer.
Correct.
But if it's going to take 1 year, so I have to, either I'm using borrowed funds or I'm using my funds, whatever. But I have to have a ROI, on that money also.
Right. Right.
So the more delay, the more expensive it becomes for the home buyer. There is no such time
The
frame.
increased chance of black swan events
Yeah,
in
so,
that time, right?
yeah.
1 year, anything can happen.
Economy can go haywire,
right.
things can change, some wars can happen. anything
Trade,
can
tariff wars or something like
happen.
that.
Something can happen.
Right.
And because there are no time limits, time frames for each of these NOCs, permissions, approvals, what we say is, we call sometimes, people want, we call them rent seekers, or we can call them speed money or whatever. Those kind of opportunities do come in the system. And some bureaucrats may want to exploit that advantage. Some builders may want to take advantage because they want to be ahead of time or other builders or competition.
They don't mind paying it.
So they may also want things done faster for them. So it's not they're asking for anything illegal. Nobody can survive today doing an illegal thing in the system. But they want things to be done faster. They don't want to spend too much time. The system evolves and it's there. So that's what I said, that administrative reforms, if everything is computerized and all the time limits are fixed in the computer,
transparency.
so then transparency comes in.
Right. Do you think it's a good idea? And
It's
India
a
should
good
implement?
idea, but
What would be the drawbacks of that?
the drawback is the way things get implemented. So like now, whenever you start anything which is on the e-platform, we all call it now e-platform, like e-khata or e-this or
Electronic.
that. Okay. When it is implemented, for a few months, there's a chaos. Because the system is not well tested. System does not take care of all eventualities. Because there can be a million eventualities possible, No software developer, bureaucrat or anybody can, think about all these possibilities.
Right.
So documents don't get executed, many things get stuck. People feel that, they are getting harassed because of delays, nothing is happening. Their rights are impeached upon.
Right.
Because of this,
Server issues.
computer
those issues,
service, server issues, all kind of problems. It's step in the right direction.
But implementing is a hard thing.
Yeah, but there will be teething problems.
Right. Get it.
People have to go through this.
Right.
Everyone is in the same boat, suffering and delays and this and that.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's happening.
So after regulatory things, so what are the things I need to check in the land? Do I have to check about the sand type, water, hydrological things?
So what happens is city to city it will differ. Some places soil
Hard enough.
is hard enough, you don't have to worry so much. But based on the height of the building and all, we all have to see the quality of soil going down, take a sample of that. But all that happens after buying.
Okay. Yeah.
No landowner will allow you to do any checking,
Sampling,
anything. In cities like Bangalore, there's a water shortage.
Right.
So most buildings survive on borewell. That too, if you get borewell water. Because I think now in Bangalore, the situation is so bad that only one borewell out of 5 may get water. 4 will be dry.
So the price of that land would be higher.
Nobody knows. Even landowner has not done borewell.
Okay.
Or if he has done, if he has not found water, he will close it and keep quiet about it.
Right.
So water is a big challenge in Bangalore. But say like city like Bangalore, you don't have to worry about water.
Right. Depends on the place to
Place.
Right. That is about the land. Now, financing and budget. When you plan a building, now I got my land thing sorted as a builder. Now I have to raise capital. So how do builders go about financing and budgeting that plan?
For land, normally you don't get loans from the banks. Okay, so either builder puts his own capital or he raises loan from NBFCs or private borrowers or he gets a private equity investor and stuff like that. Okay. For construction, you can borrow from the banks if you want to. Okay, so that facilities are, but depending on your balance sheet and your profitability and your past track record and all, how much loan you will get,
Banks will decide.
yeah, so the banks will decide. Okay, but cost parameter is very important. Like you have to understand how much it will cost and what kind of project you are doing and what will be your sale price, because you can't try to get a maximum sale price, then buyers won't come.
Right. So much
If you undersell, you may end up in a loss.
Right.
So that right balancing of cost, everything has to be seen. What is affordability in that locality? What kind of people will come? What is the average income in that area? What are the various other things we discussed in our previous program. So all those builder will take into account, and he will do a cash flow statement projected for the next 3 years. That where he will have to work out what is the inflow he'll get from the customers, what is the construction cost for each month over a period of the project life, how much bank loan he needs. So that's a full exercise, financial exercise.
Okay, financial planning.
Yeah, financial
So
planning.
when we are doing financial planning,
So a builder will always
not
have,
to screw every cost you have to consider.
builders will have a lot of professionals who will be doing this work for him, whether it's an architect or a structural engineer or a civil engineer or a landscape designer or an interior designer or a lawyer or a chartered accountant, So a lot of these consultants are there, Then because I had mentioned earlier that all these buildings are like a mini industry only.
Right.
So many equipments, so much of infrastructure, facilities we put in.
Assembly line.
Yeah. So we need a MEP consultant. MEP is mechanic, electrical, plumbing. So we need those consultants to come on board.
To estimate their side of
their
the cost.
side to see, how it has to be implemented, and what kind of facilities. Then you get fire consultants, what kind of fire equipments, how it has to be done as per the NOC taken. So now a lot of these consultants are on board with every builder. Legal teams are there on board. So even financial teams are on board.
So this happens before fundraising.
Yeah, so they will help you to project how much fund you require and how, from which bank to borrow, what will be the rate of interest, all those things.
Right.
You will get
Clear idea.
Okay.
And what would be, according to your experience, what is the cost difference between the projected cost before the building and how much it ended up after the building? Would that be a huge difference in that?
See, if everything else remains constant, we understand that every year there will be 5 to 6%, 7% inflationary pressure on the cost.
Right.
Whether it's labor cost or material cost, everything goes up 6 to 7%, 8% annualized. So that's very easy to predict. What is difficult to predict is, because some of this material, what you buy, used for, they have global impact.
Correct.
So like steel which you use in construction, it can be, global prices can determine prices in India.
Correct.
Or there is a war somewhere. Supply chain gets disrupted, the cost may skyrocket. So those things you can never predict.
Right.
So we all do business based on what is predictable. That annual inflation, you put 6-7%, cost going up. So that is taken.
That is a variable. That can be.
We calculate that. But say like suddenly Russia-Ukraine war happened and costing skyrocketed. You can't predict that.
Right.
Or what happened during the financial meltdown, global financial meltdown. 2008. You can't predict such events.
Right.
Now the tariff war. You can't predict such events.
Right.
So it disturbs your costing. It can affect your profitability. But that's part of business.
Right. Risk.
Yeah, you can't help it.
Right. Yeah. So after budgeting, so you have a team of budget makers, consultants, and they craft the budget, and then you submit to the bank. to raise the money to the building. So banks would provide 100% of the cost, or there
No,
would
see
be a
what
certain
happens is
margin.
you don't need 100% money if you're doing a residential project. You have to pump in 100% money if you're doing a commercial project.
Okay,
Well,
like IT park
or a mall or a office complex or whatever. As commercial is a rent based model. Once you complete it, you rent it out. Normally you don't sell shop by shop or something like that. Most of it is rented out. Even a mall, all your shops are rented out.
correct.
So there 100% of construction cost has to be brought in by promoter either through his own resources or through bank funding or investors or whatever.
Right.
But for residential, we depend a lot on the home buyer's money. Because once they book an apartment, they get into an agreement with the builder, they have to pay the money for apartment in installments as per the work schedule. So all that is mentioned in the document. So a lot of money comes from them. So normally most builders, they say that if you have 20 to 25% construction cost tied up, balance 70, 75, 80% will come from the home buyers.
Okay.
But that's a big risk.
From taking from the home buyers.
No, the risk is, say tomorrow there is a slowdown in the demand. You won't get that money. And you are overstretched.
Right.
Banks are not able to give you more money. Banks don't only look at your cost of construction. They'll look at your balance sheet,
And also
your
demand from
income,
the- okay.
what have you been earning? Are you capable of servicing the loan, paying the interest, EMIs?
For that, you need to have a track record.
Yeah,
and-
so all that banks will look at. So they will not give just because you have so much of construction costs. So they won't fund you for 100% or 80% of construction cost. That they won't do. But most builders have suffered, and gone through financial crisis or liquidity jam or whatever you may call, just because they have over predicted the sales.
Demand.
That demand, that okay, I will get 75-80% buyers. But economy does not behave in a linear fashion.
Right.
There are ups and downs.
Right.
So if you are not aligned with the economic cycle, you may end up taking a wrong decision, which may require more money. And if banks are not willing to give you more money, then your construction stops. Your construction stops, project goes in delay. Then customers, they will start filing cases against you. They want compensation. Then you are in such a bind there.
Right.
That you are completely in a mess.
So as a builder, it's really important to plan according to the market cycles.
Not only market cycles, basic understanding they should have. So most
Is it
builders,
the right time to build now?
most builders, the way they work is, I have done 5 projects last year. So I will do 7-8 projects this year. Next year I will do 8-10 projects. Maybe a few years later I will do 20-30 projects. So they just look at business in a one linear fashion, that they will keep doing more and more. Demand does not go that way. Today I may be able to sell 5 projects of apartments. Maybe 2 years down the line, the demand may not be for even 3 projects. But that time I am doing 10 projects.
Right.
So I am creating a huge supply. So those issues builders face all the time.
Right. So they would raise money from the future home buyers. So like 60-40% ratio, 40 from the bank.
It depends on each builder what
Builders,
ratio he
right.
decides, how much money he can take from the bank.
So it's risky to take money from the home buyers, like rely on too much on the home buyers.
I would say it's a risky thing. It's part of your trade. But you should estimate it correctly. And you should always have a plan B. Like say suppose you have estimated 80% of flats will get sold out or 90% will get sold out. Okay. What happens if only 50% gets sold out? Then how are you going to raise money? So if you don't have plan B, you can get into trouble.
Always keep a plan B.
Always keep a plan B.
So what are those plan B looks like?
So plan B is you will have some land in stock. You should
Land
always be
bank. Oh,
ready to sell it off.
nice.
Or you may have some other sources of money like investors. You should always have those investors ready. Never allow situation to get so bad that you are beyond the point of return. Always act before the collapse happens, because once the collapse starts, then it's impossible,
Okay. It's like,
then it's a domino effect, like you will be in deep trouble.
what is that called? Drown in the sand.
Yeah.
Like that quicksand.
Quicksand. So you have to be ready and act earlier.
Okay, floor. Okay, how do I decide how many floors I can build in this?
Most cities don't have number of floor restrictions.
Okay.
Some cities do have. Even in Karnataka, I think Mysore has.
Bangalore, as I guess.
No, Bangalore
because
does
of
not
the
have.
Air Force thing.
No. That will be location
Okay,
restriction.
specific. Okay.
Okay, because closer to the airport.
Right.
But otherwise, in certain areas, you can even go up to 100 floors. That's not an issue. Mysore, if I am not wrong, I think it is 12 floors thereabout. Mangalore has no restriction.
On the
Okay.
Okay.
So the height of the building, there are two aspects. One is the cultural aspect. Is your customer, is your home buyer ready to live in a high-rise building, and how high he wants to go? Okay, because many are not used to a high-rise building. They prefer independent houses at the ground level.
ground level.
Even for them, 3-4 floors is too high. They don't accept that. So like a city like Mangalore or Bangalore, people are okay going on the 30th floor, 40th floor, 50th floor, because they are exposed to that kind of lifestyle when they are living in Mumbai or traveling to Dubai or other places. So they are used to that. So that's the cultural aspect. Then there is the business aspect. Higher you go, the more it will cost. Because the dynamics change, engineering changes,
Right.
Fire control issues become more and more severe as you keep going higher and higher.
But it is profitable for the builder to have
No,
if
the
you
height
have-
of the building has nothing to do with
profitability.
in that way. It's the lifestyle cultural issue.
Because the land is the fixed asset.
Yeah,
So,
so what
the
happens
only
is
way to
How
profitize is
much you can build in terms of square feet is determined by your plot, the size of the plot, the road width, and all that. So whether you use that, what we call that floor area ratio or FSI, floor space index, how much you can build in that plot is predetermined by law because of the rules and zonal regulations and all. Now you use that area by going vertically or by going horizontally, that's your call. The more you go higher, the cost keeps going up. But the more you go horizontal, there are many flats on one floor, or you may have to make multiple blocks of buildings. So you have to strike a balance based on the demand, supply, customer preferences, the type of project. So if it's an ultra luxury, people prefer going higher floors. If it is mid-income, people prefer mid-range projects like 8 to 12 floors. If it is, budget apartments or EWS apartments, even 2 floors, 3 floors is good enough.
right.
It depends on those parameters that you decide.
What is FSI of Mangalore?
No, it depends on the road width and all. So narrower the road, lower the FSI or FAR, floor area ratio, whatever you call. The higher the road width, the more the road width, bigger the plot, your FSI is higher.
So then comes planning, architectural design and those things.
Yeah, and based on your plan, the structural engineer will design the full foundation, the structure, how your concrete has to be, what your steel has to be.
Which work has to be done first.
Yeah, so all that will be decided on that before your work starts. So today what happens is, with the help of various softwares and other things, before even I start removing the mud, the earth, everything is ready. How your building looks,
Visualization.
how many, not a visualization, the execution, the plans ready to execute.
Okay.
These are all the plans ready to execute. They are all ready.
Through algorithms.
The structural design is ready, how much concrete you will need, what steel you will need, how much you are building, how your building will look like, everything is ready. How each apartment will look like, or how each floor will look like, everything is ready.
Nice.
Before we start. So what happens once you start off, you are not waiting for some inputs from your architect or structural engineer or some other person. All those things are with you, in hand. So now it's much more professional, much more predictable. But at site, you can always have dynamic situations.
When you sit with an architect or structural engineer, what's the most important decision to nail on day one?
Structural engineer, we don't have much to say because they will design as per the science. Engineering.
Correct.
They will not allow anything. But what they take care of is based on your floor plan for the apartments, building, your car park plan. They will space out the columns and such in a way that it synchronizes with your apartment plans and your car park plans. Like you can't have a column in the middle of your bedroom, isn't it? Columns will always on the either side of your room. So all that they understand. That's a day-to-day job. So they know that, So we have some discussion with structural engineer based on this floor plan design, car park design, height of the beam for elevation purpose or other purposes. So all those preliminary discussions we do. The outcome is based on engineering. We can't discuss more on engineering, because finally it's a science. And we don't want any accident to happen at site. So we go whatever structural engineer designs. What is the type of concrete you need? What is the volume of concrete you need? What are the different steel rods you have to put? Quantity exactly to the last point it is followed. But then this earthquake-proof design has to be there based on your seismic zone. Each city will have a different seismic zone. So you have to design your buildings, especially for high-rise building, as per that, codes for that zone. So all this structural engineer will take care of it. Architect takes care of the floor plan, how your flats will be, what is the size of the flat, which room will come where will be the toilets coming in, arrangements, balconies, and
space management.
And this will be all as per the zoning regulation. How much area you are building, how your building will look, elevation of the building, color of the building, the common facilities, gardens, this, that, everything they will take care of. Whereas civil engineers come when execution starts. Their input is not so much required before execution.
Once the plan is ready. And then procurement and contracting.
Again, it's a big challenge. Some builders have their own in-house construction. So they will have all the infrastructure, their manpower, everything. Supply chain, everything ready. And that is normally for very large builders or very small builders. It works out. Some of mid-sized builders look at
cost cutting,
giving it to contractors. Contractors is not cost cutting. In fact, it adds to your cost. Because now there is one more profit center. So the contractor is not going to work for charity. He wants to earn money. And our taxation laws are such that if you give it to contractor, your GST, impact of GST is higher.
Again, adds to the cost.
It adds to the cost. So contractor is something where a builder is saying, okay, fine. I don't mind sacrificing a little on my profitability. But I don't want
that headache.
I don't want the headache of construction, handling labor, workforce, site-related issues, accidents at the site, all kind of complications, quality issues, and stuff like that. He will give it to the contractor because then he can focus his time and energy for
on
marketing, other projects, more things, administrative, financial issues. So more time is given for that, Whereas some builders will want to do everything their own thing. They'll have manpower to handle every situation, but they will do their own thing. Because A, it's cost cutting. B, quality management is better if you're in-house doing everything in-house. And time management is also better. Because you're dependent on a third party now for timely completion.
Correct.
And if the third party delays or defaults or has problems, you have to also suffer.
Right.
So in-house is that way.
You can blame yourself for the delay.
Yeah, for the delay,
Right.
So, but planning is much better if it is in-house.
Okay. Where do most projects hit delays on site, and how would you spot it early?
Like we already seen contractors and builders doing the project with their own team. Okay, so that is one aspect. The second aspect is the availability of raw materials. There are a lot of items where like your sand, your aggregates, which are very important commodities, which based on rules, regulations, availability sometimes becomes very challenging. You must have heard about sand mafia.
Right, big issue.
Sand is a very big issue. It's become a political commodity. It's become a kind of
Black underworld.
A lot of issues are there with sand availability. So sometimes that can be a challenge. Sometimes some other raw material, critical raw material, factories shut down or some other issues happen. There can be delays. So like you're ordering something from a particular factory. Now in that factory there's a strike or shutdown or something. Now you already paid part advance, you already received part material, but balance material is not coming because there's a shutdown in the factory. What do you do? So availability of raw material can also be a challenge that can cause delays. The other thing is execution delays. Execution is, availability of workers, the, what you call skilled workers availability for that job to be done. Today to find workers is becoming more and more challenging.
Labor shortage.
When people say so much of unemployment is there, believe me, you won't find workers, whether skilled or unskilled. Skilled is virtually now becoming impossible to find in the market.
In the construction sector.
In the construction. Unskilled also, it's too difficult to find. And the other is in your house, if you want a maid or a cook, it's impossible to find.
What are the skilled ones in construction, real estate? I mean, who are the skilled ones?
So skilled people, like, finally when you're constructing, people should know their jobs. Say like you have what you call the centering has to be done, staging has to be done. People should know that work, how to do it. If they are not skilled, they won't be able to do it. And your product will not look nice. Quality may be problem and all kind of issues. Okay, people who are doing concrete work, they should know how the concrete is poured, how it is leveled.
That when the high rise.
So all those issues. Then people who are doing
cranes,
the steel work in the concrete, they should know how that rods have to be bent, cut, tied up, all those issues. So even people who are making walls, they should have the experience of making walls, knowledge of making, using different tools, equipments. People who are doing your plaster work, flooring work, plumbing work, electrical work. Okay, unskilled workers are what? Unskilled workers are just to carry loads,
transportation,
logistics, shifting things. Because a lot of material has to keep, then excavating soils, removing earth and all that. So that is all unskilled job. So you need a lot of unskilled worker also.
So skilled labor shortage. So do you think there would be a good market if there is a education system where it trains how to bend steel?
If you look at the government of India, Skill India program, they are trying their level best to get people more and more skilled. But however number they skill, the gap is so wide that if for only Karnataka, if they skill say around 1 lakh workers in this
construction
1 year, whole 1 lakh workers will get absorbed.
Oh, to the local market or international?
No, local market.
Local market, okay.
Because that kind of
Gap is there.
gap is there. Today people whom we call skilled, they are not trained, in a formal way. They have learned the work on the job,
Right.
and they have become from unskilled to skilled.
Experienced.
Yeah. So what we need is people who are formally taught how to do a particular job, how to use, tools,
Right.
and to give a very good product, So that formal training is missing.
Nice point. So these are the headaches people face: labor shortage, procuring the materials,
And
unpredictability.
see, what happens is most of the labor has become migratory labor now. Like if you look at builders in Karnataka, most workers, they have shifted themselves to Karnataka, but they are not Kannadigas.
Right.
They live in Karnataka. In different cities they will live. They will have small homes on rent, or shanties or wherever. They live here. They work here, but their families are not here. Their families are in their villages because they will have some land, something,
Agriculture.
parents and other things. So families don't come to cities. So what happens is, if it's a wedding season, the entire movement is back from cities to the villages, whichever state. Then if there are religious festivals, whichever religion, the movement goes back from cities to the villages. Because their families are staying there, they use this kind of time frame to spend a month or 6 weeks or 2 months in their villages with their family. Sometimes many go during the monsoon time because they have little land. So they want to cultivate, and finish whatever other work. Even election time. If state election is happening, they'll say, "Humko vote dalna hai," and they'll go.
Right. Yes. Then marketing and sales. So when do you launch sales? Before the first brick or after the slab casting?
The first important aspect is Real Estate Regulation Act registration. You can't advertise, can't sell
Before you get the approval from the real estate.
from the Real Estate Regulation Act. Once you do that, builders start pre-launch. Because
That is for the investors.
even after getting Real Estate Regulation Act, you may not start your work immediately because some other preparations are going on. Groundwork has to happen, site office has to come up, marker flat may have to come up, ground preparation have to be done, site preparation has to be done. So when you get Real Estate Regulation Act, there's a lot of work which undergoes before your actual work starts. So that preparatory time, builder will do pre-launch. So they'll offer some discounts, some benefits, some schemes. Okay.
Early investors.
Yeah. So you get pre-launch. Then the day you actually start the work, what we call Bhumi Puja or launch date or foundation stone day or whatever, there will be a kind of one more offer, which will be, flats will be a little more expensive than pre-launch.
What would be the cost difference?
It depends on the time frame, builders
20%?
calculation. Huh? No. Maybe 4-5%
That's all.
plus minus. Because builders don't have that kind of margin to give 20% price.
Right.
Okay. So pre-launch offer will happen. And once pre-launch offer is over, your work starts. Then builders will quarterly review the pricing, in the market based on demand, supply, whether the remaining stock they have to increase the price. The normal trend is price when you launch is low, price when you complete the project is high.
Yeah.
That's the normal way of business. Because if you are buying at the launch date, you are investing in that particular flat.
Believing it, they would deliver.
And then you are giving money to the builder. So builder is using your money to build your flat.
Right.
But if builder has to put in his money or a borrowed money to build that flat, by the time it's constructed, the costing is different.
His economics is different.
So that price will be definitely higher. Now, depending on demand, supply, those things, how much high it will be gets determined. Because markets will, it keeps absorbing at a particular price. The minute, market is not absorbing your price, you can't increase this price,
Right.
You may have to step back, So that is all market dynamics. It happens.
So even after, they keep on they would be on the call till they finish the building to sell depends on the builders.
All builders have one marketing team. And today, because of various housing websites, everyone advertises there.
Too many ads on YouTube.
Customers also. Those ads are not done directly by builders as such. But what happens is, there are so many sites available: housing.com, magicbrick.com, indiaproperties.com, 99acres.com. They have different packages. You advertise there. They do social media marketing for you. So when you see a project advertisement coming on your Facebook or LinkedIn or even a Google ad,
Gmail also.
Gmail.
So
now these are all done through this various marketing sites. Because the more people see, you click on that ad, you will go to that website. You will not go to the builder's website.
Correct. They take the transaction.
Yeah. And some builders do their social media marketing in-house also. Then, there will be a team to answer the queries, calls, inquiries, emails. That's how it has become. Because now everything has become more on the net-based marketing than people-to-people marketing. There are some builders who are 100% sold out on, on their own website marketing.
Interesting.
They launch a project, they advertise.
For example, who are those credible builders?
I don't want to name anybody, but there are builders. Every city will have a couple of them.
What do they do differently than others?
See, what they do is, they will advertise a lot before the booking opens. Okay. And their booking is one-time booking. And then booking will open on their own web page. It's online booking, online payment, online, everything is online. So, customer is directly booking on builder's website with the builder. You get it? So, you want to buy a flight ticket. There are so many other marketing websites. You can go there and book. Or you can go directly to the airline website and book.
Right.
So, some builders want this booking to happen on their own web page. So where there is no wrong information, no, all correct information is available, Some of these marketing companies, they may give some false information also.
So any advice or for the budding builders out there, from your experience, what the thing you should not do at any cost?
Few things. When you are buying land, never take a chance on title issue. Even if you feel, one small minor problem is there, it may be minor. It may be minor today, but when it blows up in your face, it becomes a major problem. So don't take that chance. When you're paying money, when you're buying a property, see to it that title is absolutely clear. So that's one aspect of it. Second aspect of it is always know which side the demand and supply is moving. Because if you create too much supply, when the demand is falling, you will have to face difficulties. Second thing is, don't overextend yourself too much financially. Going is good, everything will fall in place. Going gets tough, you will get into a liquidity jam, which is not good for your brand, your business, your financial health.
Never allow liquidity jam in building.
Yeah, so be always aware of that. Always have a particular margin amount for every project, which is the builder's money, not borrowed money. You can't be over leveraged. You will get money from NBFCs, from private investors and all. You can be over leveraged. Over leverage will help you only till the time demand is good. But if you are over leveraged, when the demand is falling, you will really go through hell. So, most builders who have not reached the corporate stage, who have not reached that size, because they are still in the growing process, they have to follow this. Once you are a very large corporate, automatically systems come in place, standard operating procedures come in place, all those things are there, and they have such deep pockets. They are able to absorb this minor shocks. They are not applicable to them. They are applicable to people who are into the mid kind of size or small size builders, They have to be very careful, but they can get in trouble,
Do you have to?
So like if you remember some builder, there was a company called Unitech Builders in
Based
NCR.
NCR.
They were stock market listed. They were one of the biggest companies those days, along with DLF. Unitech folded up because of certain wrong planning, over leverage, things like that. There's a builder in Bangalore. He was also listed. Nitish Real Estate.
Publicly listed.
Yeah. So they also have a lot of difficulties because they were overextended at the wrong time. I don't know whether they are recovering and coming out of.
What
this
is the
issue.
mistake they made?
Overextended. See,
What do
when
you
you
mean by
when you have too
overextended?
many projects and demand
Diluted.
suddenly falls off the cliff, or you get regulatory
Overexposed to the market shocks.
or you get into regulatory disputes, or you have some lands which you have bought, which has title issues, so then you are stuck. So every time scale, you will find some builders will be getting into problems. Their businesses may fold up, or they may take a severe setback. They may revive, but there will be a severe setback. So it happens all the time.
And this is the way to play safe.
Yeah.
Like title issue, no chance at all.
No chance at all.
100%.
Then financial. You should know what is the leverage you can go up to where your business is not destabilized if things go wrong. Always look at it from this, if demand falls up by 20%, where do I stand? If demand falls by 30%, where do I stand? Do I have money? Can I
Imagine the
raise
worst
money?
case scenario as well.
Yeah, take that worst case scenario. Some models are built up, demand will go up every year by 10%, 15%, and the model has no, worst side scenario.
Right.
You can get in deep trouble. Because then when the markets go bad, you have huge supply with you. You are not able to sell. Banks are not willing to fund you. Your financial bandwidth is limited. Then, you're squeezed from all sides. What do you do?
So what is the, in spite of taking all of the risks, what is the margin of the builder typically?
It depends from time to time, project to project, because this is not a standardized product at standardized pricing. So margins can vary. But builders normally will make around, annual ROI, if you say, it is around 18 to 20%.
Of the whole project.
For the whole project, annualized ROI.
18 to 20.
18 to 20% is the normal ROI.
What is the best case?
Sometimes people make little more money, not because of your construction, but because of your land bank. Now, suppose you bought some land which was
too early.
Which was at say 10 crores, and you have sat on it for 5-10 years. Now today that land is worth 50 crores. That 40 crores profit is because of the land appreciation. From your construction activity, you are earning your normal profit, 18% to 20%. Same thing happens with jewelers. Say if you had bought gold at the rate of 75,000,
Right.
and when he's selling today jewelry, is selling at 1 lakh for 10 grams. He's making money because of the investment in gold.
Right.
He's not making money because of the jewelry making activity and jewelry marketing activity.
This is another advice for the builders. Always bet on the land bank.
Yeah, always
you
have
want
a land back because it's a safety net also. If you have financial difficulty,
somewhere.
you can sell some part of your land and raise money and come out of the difficult situation. But some builders follow a model of all joint development. They never buy their land. Everything is on joint development.
Okay.
So then if you don't have any land with you, what will you sell? How will you raise money?
That's a bad idea, right?
I won't say it's a bad idea. It's a business model.
Right.
Because joint development model,
You don't have the capital to
you don't have to invest so much. I won't say, in fact, it's a very good model. But then when going gets tough, you should have some plan for difficult situation. If you do that, no issues. But if you don't do that, and if you are having 30-40 projects at a time all on joint development or redevelopment, and you don't have land bank also, and market takes demand simply falls off the cliff, then what do you do that time? Either you should have that kind of money in your bank sitting, or you should have some resources which you can sell and raise money. So all that individual builder, they plan, they take their own calls. Some will always make a mistake. They will get in trouble. Largely most builders, they have standard operating procedures. They have experts, consultants to guide them. So they know how to write this ups and down. Every cycle, like some industries close, same way some builders will fold up.
Correct. I want to explore the pricing. So as a consumer, if I'm buying that real estate product, what determines the pricing? What is in the equation of pricing?
See, basically,
Land.
there are two factors, cost factors in any project. One is the land price, one is the construction cost. If you're buying your flat, which is say 10 kilometers outside the city center, that land valuation will be low.
Right.
If you're buying something within the most prime location, that land valuation will be different. Cost of construction also is dependent on what type of building you're building, what type of facilities and services you are providing. A customer knows how to compare, apples with apples. Now, if you go and compare apples with oranges, then you will end up in difficulty. So, like if you're buying an apartment in, say, the prime location of Mangalore, okay, like Falnir or Kadri or Bijay or, Attawar or such prime locations, and you compare that price with the outskirts of Mangalore, like Derebel or, Derlakatte or Suratkal or Bajpe, definitely there will be a price difference. But the land value there is much lower than the land value within the city.
So when you buy an apartment, you also buy a piece of land.
Yeah. So you compare apple to apple, not apple to oranges. And each location may have a value. Because what happens in a city, because most of our cities are unplanned. One area is very posh, good, well planned. You go just 1 kilometer further up, you will have narrow lanes, you will have slum areas, all kind of thing. Now you can't compare pricing of that with this, even though distance may be only a kilometer. But visually that this is a posh area, good location with a lot of social infrastructure, civic infrastructure. 1 kilometer further down, it's all slum area. Civic and social infrastructure are absent. Law and order may not be that great there. Water availability and other sewage availability and all may be a problem there. But here everything is better. So then you determine pricing accordingly.
Okay, so pricing is land plus construction plus premium, like location.
So like, some places are prone to crime.
Demography of the place.
Okay, now nobody wants to, live there or buy a new place there. And if you want to buy, you will get at a lower rate. So everything, a customer is aware which is a safe area, where the crime is more, where you get, say like, even bus routes.
Metro
lines, those areas where easy mobility is there. You have to go to your work or markets or schools or colleges. So where the mobility is well connected, those areas will have better valuation. So customer is aware of all these parameters, and then he knows which is a reasonable value and which is not. But what I can tell people at large is competition is tremendous in the market.
To buy a right place, buy a right property.
I'm not saying from that perspective, but from the customer's perspective. No builder can overcharge you. Because there are so many buildings in and around that place. Everyone is working on their margins.
Price check.
And everyone wants to push their products as early as possible. Nobody wants to sit on their stock. Everyone wants to sell their apartments.
So Mangalore economics is right.
So what happens is,
I was thinking it's like a bubble or something.
there's a perfect competition, huge competitive field this is.
So pricing is right.
So pricing is always right. No one can overcharge you. And in one area someone is only doing some projects where there is supply is limited, then there can be that small aberration based on supply and demand. See,
Again, pricing is right.
location wise, there can be low supply or high supply. So where there is low supply, there will be little more valuation. But there is some place which is close to this location, but their supply is very high. Their valuation may be slightly lower. So like classic case of Bombay. Suburban Bombay like Ghatkopar or Borivali, Kandivali, Malad area, or that side Ghatkopar, Mulund area.
North side.
North of Bombay. The supply is a huge constraint.
Because of zoning rules.
No, because land is not available on that side. Okay. Whereas the central Bombay, like Lower Parel, Lal Bagh, Dadar, supply is huge because of redevelopment projects. Supply is huge because a lot of textile mills, their workers' colonies, everything is going for redevelopment. Slum areas are going for redevelopment. Huge supply is there. Today, virtually, central Bombay and suburban Bombay, pricing is the same. Because one place has no supply or very limited supply, other places very huge supply. Earlier in Bombay, pricing was linear. As you keep coming north, price will keep falling. South Mumbai will be the most expensive. Suburban Mumbai to the north will be the cheapest. But today it's gone, like that concept has gone, And today what has happened is clusters have come up where there are more jobs getting created, more malls and, recreation activities are there. So like Bandra. Bandra is very expensive in Mumbai. Same way in Bangalore, Koramangala, Whitefield, Indira Nagar, very expensive. Because there's a huge job opportunity available, civic infrastructure, social infrastructure, markets.
Land scarcity.
So those are clusters. But a lot of opportunities are there. So in the middle of this thing, cluster will have high valuation. Because, your workplace is close to you, your schools, colleges are close to you, market, shops, retail, restaurants, high-end shopping, everything is close by, So valuation parameters change.
So those are the premiums, location,
those are the premium
clusters, builder. So if I'm paying 1.2 CR for a 3 BHK apartment, that's 1,600 square feet, super built up area. So how much would it go for construction cost?
See, it depends on location to location. Because what happens is, take Bombay, South Bombay, where apartments are selling at more than 1 lakh rupees a square foot. 70% of the 1 lakh rupees is land cost. Your construction costs, your utilities, services and all may not exceed 10%. 20% may be the builder's margin.
Piece of land.
Okay. But if you are buying a property of say 4,000 a square foot instead of 1 lakh a square foot, in that land cost may be only 25-30%. Construction cost may be 50%. Balance 15-20% may be builder's margin.
Location dependent.
So it's location dependent. You can't have formulas for that.
Right. Then I would ask, when you look at location as a beginner investor, what invisible factors are the most people miss that actually predict long-term appreciation?
See, what happens is when you're buying something, whether a piece of land or of apartment or whatever, buy in a developing area because there's a huge scope for that area to develop further. Prices moving up further. More social infrastructure or, physical infrastructure.
Civic infrastructure.
Will be coming up there and valuation will keep moving up. But if you're buying in a overdeveloped area, which is today only very expensive, there the appreciation will be much muted, means low level of appreciation you will get. That place will always be in demand. It will always be very expensive. But the rate of growth will be very, very slow, So if you're an investor, always look at buying developing areas.
So what are the indicators that the place is developing, that neighbor, so that people can spot it?
Now, see, the whole thing is, first thing is connectivity, roads, metros, buses,
Road expansion.
Expansion and all that. Second thing is some big projects are coming up, like IT park or some factories or some. So like today in Bangalore, on the outskirts, the most in demand area is Devanalli. Now Devanalli is very, very far away from the city center. I am talking about, it's beyond the airport also. Bangalore airport.
It's Bangalore rural only, no? Devanalli.
Devanalli is Bangalore rural. But Devanalli is in huge demand because there are some huge projects coming up. Plus airport infrastructure has come up. A lot of airport related services have come up. A lot of people are working there. A lot of jobs are created in and around 10 kilometers around Devanalli. Foxtron, which is the company which makes this Apple Mobile, they are in Devanalli. Some one more company has come. I think Tata's are running that.
So manufacturing
is there, services are there, airport
Bangalore.
services, people are staying there. So a lot of other infrastructure is happening. So what happens is today Devanalli is a very hot place for real estate.
Is it too hot now for people to buy, or is it?
I would say, it has run 50% of its upward move, but still some steam is left.
Interesting.
So you can identify this kind of area.
These are the indicators.
Yeah. But
Factories,
if you're an investor, move in, be the first mover
that's
to get the
right.
maximum benefit. If you're a last mover,
do you see such spot in Bangalore?
see, I will tell you one interesting thing.
It's like a gem for people who have watched this far.
I was addressing a Lions group. That
Lions Club or Lions Group?
Lions Club. Members of one particular Lions Club. And the event was held at, Ocean Pearl. It was, I think, 15 years back. And thereabout, So, one thing, real estate issue had come up. So I told them, buy on any road which is going to the east of Bangalore.
Okay.
There are 4 or 5 roads which are going to the east of Bangalore. One is your Bangalore highway. Second thing is your Kulshekar road. Third is your airport road. Fourth is that your Kulurkavur road. Buy anything that's going to the east, because that's the only area that can develop. Or even Derlekatte road or Derebel road. Buy anything going to the east. Those days valuations on all these roads were very, very low. And today all these roads have become highly developed properties. If you ask me today in Mangalore where you should buy the property, I would still say buy properties to the east. That's the only place that will be growing. City has nowhere to go further. No properties, no big plots are available. And city is hemmed in by river on all sides. And on the other side you have the highway, and then some hilly area starts. So city can't grow. To the north you have Baikampadi industrial area. You just see not much development has happened in Suratkal and other areas. You go to the south. Ullal is still not a city area. Ullal is a part of, now it's become a separate taluk, if I am not wrong. Whereas
is it? Ullal has become a taluk.
Or there's a demand to make it separate taluk. I don't actually remember whether it's happened or it was still in progress. But what comes in the Mangalore Muda area is the Derlakatte area, Mudipu area. Where some development is happening. So you have to spot where the development is possible, where it is not going to happen, and go to that area to invest.
Nice. These are the indicators.
Yeah.
This is the frame how you think.
And same logic applies to whichever city, whether you're Bangalore, wherever.
And what is the opposite of it? That you shouldn't buy, like that land value would depreciate, not instead of appreciate. So is there a case like that? Is there a
Land
possibility
value
like
over a period of time will appreciate. It's a question of how much. you know.
0.1%
So,
or 100%.
So when you're an investor, look at the developing area. When you're an actual user, look at the area where good civic infrastructure, social infrastructure, economic infrastructure, they are available close to your place.
Okay.
Because living is all about conveniences.
Right.
And you are not going to sell that property maybe for the next 20, 30 years where you are going to stay,
Right.
you know.
I think I'll finish the last question. What's one clause in a builder-buyer agreement that no one reads but can really bite later?
See, now post Real Estate Regulation Act, those kind of situations are not there. Because Real Estate Regulation Act has specified a model agreement. All builders do that same model agreement. So if you see Builder A's agreement or Builders B agreement, it's virtually the same. We can't put now conditions which are one-sided. We can't even change the agreement, you know. Minor changes can be done for project specifications, project terms and conditions and stuff like that. But major changes you can't do. You have to follow the model agreement which RERA has prescribed. RERA has prescribed a very fair and square agreement which protects first the home buyer's rights and it protects even the developer's rights vis-a-vis the home buyer. You know, what happens if home buyer does not pay on time to the developer? You know, what happens if buyer does not take possession of his flat when it's completed? You know, things like that, you know. So builder is also having safeguard in that. So those situations are now part of a bygone era. We have legacy problems where the documents were entered, you know, prior to 2019 or, you know, even in 2010 and 2005. A lot of such unfinished projects are there, you know, disappearing builders kind of projects are there. We have a lot of old legacy issues where a builder has sold the same property to more than one person, you know, and those kind of things.
Right.
You know, we have a lot of projects. Even now, that problem is there where a builder borrows money from a bank to complete the project. But because of financial stress or liquidity issues or losses, he is not able to pay the bank. Then the buyer is still in a tough spot.
So is it safe to see, I mean, the buyer should also see the financial of the builder?
Yeah, so buyers, and all these documents are there in RERA website. So buyers have to be little wary about this, that check the background of the builder, so, you know, see whether builder has strong balance sheet. If you have that confidence, then go and buy. So that, you know that builder will complete everything properly. But occasionally this happens where builder is not able to pay the bank loan and primary mortgage is of the same property which the buyer has bought. So the buyer gets into a difficult spot there. So that is one thing which buyer has to be very, very careful about.
Thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure is mine. I hope
Yes,
your viewers and listeners benefit from this.
I mean, absolutely, absolutely. I
discussion.
hope
Thank you.
there would be many budding builders from this. And also, congratulations on your CREDAI President-elect post.
Oh, thank you so
And
much.
I hope, I wish you well on the post and you bring a lot of changes, policy regulations in the state.
Yeah, thank you. This is an opportunity to work for the, society and the people at large.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.